Ivan Lewis.
Mr. Speaker, in its handling of Brexit, this House has lost the respect of the country and made us a laughingstock around the world. Prolonged uncertainty, as much as no deal, can tip us into recession with disastrous consequences for jobs and for living standards. I hear high-minded speeches about protecting the Constitution and the propriety expected of government, and I accept there are a small number of members who are vehemently opposed to no deal, but would support Brexit with a fair deal. I also regret the fact that the government decided to prorogue this House, which was unnecessary as it was undesirable. But, Mr. Speaker, the vast majority on the opposition benches, when they claim support for an affirmative referendum and/or opposition to no deal, are determined to overturn the result of the referendum. They have displayed an increasing contempt for our duty as Democrats to respect and implement the result. They lecture others about democracy, accountability and our national interest, yet they are hell-bent on frustrating the will of the majority of the people as expressed in that referendum. And, Mr. Speaker, they should be honest. It is their objective to thwart Brexit in whatever the circumstances. Whatever the deal is put to this House, there are many, many people who will vote against it because they want to thwart the will of the people in terms of that referendum result. And it is many of the so-called progressives in this House who are fuelling right-wing extremism by showing contempt for the result, and the majority voted to leave. We asked the people and they gave us their decision to leave the European Union. I say that, Mr. Speaker, as a Remainer. One cannot be a selective Democrat who only respects democracy when it delivers your preferred result. And this goes to the root of the Leader of the Opposition's position tonight. He demands an election time and time again. But now, given the opportunity, he vetoes an election. Not because of the national interest or stopping no deal, but he knows he would lose that election. Not because of the vast majority of the values of decent Labour MPs and many Labour Party members, but because as a lifelong Eurosceptic, leading a party of Remainers, he's been caught out trying to have it both ways on Brexit time and time again. Because he does not have the leadership skills required at a time of so many challenges facing our country, and because his leadership has led to the party of anti-racism and equality becoming the party of institutionalised anti-Semitism. So much so, Mr. Speaker, that a majority of Jews in this country feel they would not be safe in the event of him becoming Prime Minister. Mr. Speaker, this House cannot stand up for the public interest or break its stalemate for over 3 years. Therefore, the national interest demands a general election. Then maybe, Mr. Speaker, a new House will be able to show the leadership that this country needs and it deserves. To begin the process of rebuilding trust in this place and healing the scars of division in our society. And I hear some of my honourable friends saying, what about a by-election? Because that's what the momentum types in my constituency keep saying. I'm running away from the electorate by not having a by-election now I'm an independent. I'm voting for a general election tonight. I'm willing to face the people in my constituency, unlike too many of the people on these benches. And finally, Mr. Speaker, there were many tributes paid today, quite rightly, Mr. Speaker, to the way you have presided over this House. And I would like to add to that the work that you did for children with speech and language difficulties, which changed the lives of many families. But when I heard the speeches earlier, and they talked about how proud they were of this House of Commons, they're not living in the real world. My voters, my constituents, are not proud of this House of Commons. They think we've entirely lost the plot, Mr. Speaker. So the time has come for people to be honest with the British people. And that honesty means that we need to respect the result of that referendum. Otherwise, the alternative will be to fuel right-wing populism like we've never seen in the history of this country.